All right, guys, we're back. We're now at episode 37. Who would have thought we would have got past the second podcast, let alone 37 of them? We're back, mate. We had a break last week because of, again, everything's just happening and not knowing what we're doing, where we're at, and scheduling issues. How are you, mate? Good to see you face to face, but not in person. But how are you, champion?
Good to see you digitally, mate, as always. It's the next best thing, isn't it? Mate, a lot's been happening. So I'm really keen to chat with you today, mate, because, I feel like today is all about you. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. How's that sound?
Nah, can't be all about me, mate. This is not what this is about. This is about just talking in general, and it can't be just a key focus. Yes.
But no, mate.
It won't be based on me.
We'll base it on you at the start, mate. So let me open the can up. Start. Tell me about how you're feeling right now, mate. Some big news came out about you in the last 24 hours. Not the fact that you've been arrested or anything like that. It's actually good news. Talk me through.
I haven't been Facebook banned or anything, so that's good.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure by the time people see this podcast, I'm sure they would have seen your news. So fill us in, mate. What's been happening? First off, what's been happening? When do you start, and how do you feel about it to start with, hey?
So I got the director or high performance director role is what they call it, which is at Broadmeadows Basketball Association, which is good. I'm happy with. It's been going for a couple of weeks to talk, so I went through some due diligence on interviews, so a couple of interviews, and then decision was made Friday. Well, I was told Friday. They told the club over the weekend, and then announcement was yesterday. So very, 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 very happy. It doesn't change anything at Transition Sports, which some people have asked the question, what does that mean for TS? Nothing. It fits in the scope of the hours and the commitments. It's all for the same cause, develop kids and develop people. So I'm happy, mate. It's going to be a big job. It probably starts now, even though officially probably next week, or they're waiting for the other season to finish and Cecil's still involved. That's all in limbo. So it's a bit of a, when does it actually start? Mate, I'm already having the chats and conversations anyway. So
I'm sure you
the
are.
ideas start. We're flowing. Yeah. Some things we'll discover this week about the, expression of interest of coaching opportunities. The season's got to finish first. When's the new season going to start? So, and the good thing is, negatively, we've shut down again for another week. Positive for me, it gives me a chance to really embrace this and put a lot of time into it behind the scenes. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Very excited.
Yep. Very excited, mate. No, I can feel the energy from the other side of the I don't know, the fiber optic cables from here, mate. So
to the iCloud.
That's awesome, mate. So I guess you ever just talk through with us, mate. What was the process, and probably a bit deeper? What did you sort of put into the process without probably, you can go as deep as you want, mate. But so what did you have to put into it?
To be fair, it's not that I had to; it's what I chose to do. I wasn't given a scope, which is good. I think they said, they just asked questions. A few of us asked the questions. We had a conversation, via Zoom, and just led the different directions. And then, if I felt the time was right, I'd present something that I already had put together. It wasn't just for Broadmeadows; it was also things I already had in place that I'm putting forward here anyway. And then it led to that. Change directions and thoughts and visions and where they're at and my thoughts on where they can be and what changes could be made. Not that it was a mess or it was a shamble and needs to be a total rebuild. It's just what we're meant to continue the growth moving forward. The vision long term, was it short term? Is it a quick fix? Is it a process? So great questions. They did their due diligence on how they asked the questions and I think what they wanted out of it.
Yep.
And I got a second interview, which I'm presuming others did as well.
Yeah.
And then they made the decision. But I look, to be fair, I can't say too much because again we're still going for the early stages.
Yeah.
But I'm going all in. With engage with the coaches, the players, the environment, the culture. Again, not that anything was wrong there. It's just how to make it even more unique or more special and to last much longer and keep the kids in the program. Not lose kids, gain kids, not poach kids. Actually build a program.
Yeah.
Not steal a program. What we can do for the local talent, what we can do for the people already there. I've got a good scope. It's an expanding scope.
Yep.
so we can expand on the role.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a great opportunity, mate. Like I think it's a bit different to the normal director of coaching role. I'm excited about the input I can have with their support and their, and the collaboration. Like, you've got some good coaches there. Like, you've got an Australian coach and Dee Butler's there.
Yeah.
Dee Butler. But Dee, she's there. The Big V coaches, the youth league coaches,
Yep.
the board members, they've all got some great experience. So collectively, we'll collaborate and we'll adapt and create some things.
What's unique about it, Dazza? What you said the word unique, which is quite an interesting word to use, because at the end of the day, a lot of associations tend to operate the same way. They tend to have the same. Everyone's got their junior teams registered in the VJBL. They've got their Big V teams or NBL 1 teams, whatever that may be. So why is this one unique, mate?
Look, the opportunity to give me a chance to do what I do.
Yeah,
that's easy said and done. Like in the interviews, what I do is what I do. It's a tragedy.
What do you do, Dazza? What do you do?
Well, we're about every single
person.
What
are you about?
But we're about every single person. Like,
yep.
Every member of that club matters. Every member of that club can be developed in whatever direction. Coaches, players, parents. The environment, the culture. We're all worried about the X and O's, but they're important. But there's other things more important than that first. The way you do your tries, the way you do your selections, the way you do your depth charts, the way you monitor your players, the way you track them, maintain them, as players, as teams, as coaches, and the package. It's not just putting one team on the floor and saying, okay, you're on your own now, go do what you got to do. And we'll look after the ones. We might look after the twos, and the rest we'll worry about as years go on. It's a full development program. We'll focus on everything and anything, and we'll leave no stone unturned to ensure to bring better versions of every single member. Some are going to advance more than others. Some are going to go in different directions. There's no promises. There's no guarantees. But we'll put everything we can to maintain communication, connection, and involvement to those members. That's what I'm excited about.
That's good, mate. Sounds bloody good. Bloody good. Excellent
Absolutely.
work. I'm very excited for you. I was pretty optimistic that you'd go pretty far in it too, mate, at least. So it's awesome stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's amazing when you get a role that you apply for, you have like an anxiety attack. You think, oh, I've got it now.
What have I got myself into?
It's easy to say, oh, look, I'm getting our podcast. Oh, give me a chance to be involved in the club, and I want to make a difference.
Yes.
I got it and thought, okay, now what? So surprisingly, I didn't sleep well the first night. I got told.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the wrong reason. I just got, you always, if you really care about what you do, I don't think you ever sleep well. You have those, okay, now it's real. I want to start implementing it. I want to start doing it. Am I doing it the wrong way? Am I right way? Am I too keen? You start to, scramble through your mind so much. And then by the time you get in the morning, I think I had a Zoom chat with Todd Anderson. Great chat. And I was like, we're fine. It was a strange. I tossed and turned. Kaz goes, you did not sleep. I tossed, I turned. I was. I don't know what it was. I call it anxiety.
Normal, mate. It's probably we talk about stress and stuff like that. It's probably one of those ones where you go, it's a good stress.
Well, it's also expectations on not yourself, but now that you're in that spot, you are now. There are expectations. You got to actually, you don't just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. Which I'm that type of person. Yeah. But if you generally care, it's going to be uneasy the first step to the second step until you get comfortable. I get that. I'm understanding that. And then yesterday, with all the I had amazing responses, which I thought I'd get some good responses. With people around me that are close to me, it's gone far and beyond. It's off the charts. The phone's pinging, the Facebook traction, the comments, and I said to you earlier, some of these people don't have to reach out and say, "Hey, good job, well done," whatever. They've gone out of their way to comment. I mean, it's not about just liking and not liking. It's about the comments, the messenger, texts. It's overwhelming, to be fair, which gives me more inspiration to say, I can do this because I have a lot of support and a lot of people backing me, which is good. And some confidence I can go to for a chat at any time, just to bounce some ideas off and directions in some very important places, which I'm happy with.
Of course. That's awesome, mate. Well done. Well done. Well, that's great.
Well,
We've
thank
spent
you.
the first 10 minutes talking about you, mate. So a bit of me time, which is always nice.
All right. Well, so
Sorry.
now I feel good. We'll stop the podcast now because I'm not going to talk
there
about
we go.
anything else.
No.
Oh, by the way,
mate, let's push. Yeah.
Can I say something? So this was
What you
delivered
got
today
there?
as well from Kim Weimer. So Kimmy, you
Oh,
always
lovely,
try and do
Kim.
little things for me in special moments, and yeah. So I just want to say thank you, Kimmy, publicly. It's another one of those things that I've received the last couple of weeks on some acknowledgements, which I don't realise, but that makes a huge emotional difference. So things like that is why we do what we do, and I'm very, very grateful. So Kimmy,
Beautiful.
thank you. All right, now back to you, Azza. Talk to me. What's going on?
No. Before we move on, so I want to talk through this background that we've got up here. So there's a special reason why. Not the background. So on our banner here.
Yes, right. Talk to me.
Talk to me about it.
So, so we're going to start to create a design which is coming, but I'm trying to get a feel of the calm water. There's a bit of sunlight, just pushing through.
Yep.
The three mechanical things I think matter: the mental, physical, social, which we can't see properly, but once we get a proper design, things are happening for us. We're going to start to make this a little bit more impactful, meaningful, and the image that represents us, we want to flow into this podcast.
Absolutely. I like this because the water. So it's funny, isn't it? So I mean, it's a calming sort of picture there. You can take this many different ways, can't you? You can look at it, what's on the surface that looks nice, pretty, and calm. You can look underneath, which is quite vast, dark. Different kinds of things can be happening. Hey, mate. So, and as you know, those storm waters, they can change at any given moment, can't they? They can go from calm to rocky to absolutely huge 10-foot waves, for example. So it's probably a really good capture of the general sort of mindset and emotions that any of us can go through at any point in time in our lives. Hey.
Well, that's why with the sunset in the background, which we can just see, it's like that little image.
Sunset or sunrise?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's
whichever way you want to take it.
It's in pause. It's in pause. I don't know. But it's like there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's there. You can see that it is the storm's going to pass. So I think we've got the right image. But it feels nice and fresh. That's why. And I'm not very creative either, but I'm happy with that.
I think you're more creative than you give yourself credit for, mate. I think you've definitely got more creative flow than I do. That's for sure. So, Daz, sorry. Yep, you go.
No, I just can't wait till the design comes. We've got a special lady helping us out with that one, so that's coming soon.
Absolutely exciting times ahead for us. That's for sure. Now, Dazza, talk me through. I know some exciting things have been going on. What's your general gist and feeling around the next steps for us here in Melbourne, maybe in particular? What's your sort of feelings around because we've just crossed into, we're right at the last day of August today. So I'm about to say September. We're nearly there. So we're in the last quarter of the year, nearly. What do you think's in store for the general, I guess, community and by extension the sporting community in which we're very closely tied to?
Well, I don't know any rumours or hearsays, but just going by the trends, I don't think we're extending by 1 week only. Going by the way things have been normally happening when you're in business, you sort of have an idea what might be going on. The trend is saying to us that it's not just a week, because I would have said that the other day. It's we don't know. I think you'll find sports going to be cancelled. The seasons and finals will be. I know everyone's doing scenario based on a scenario. That's going now where there's not much scenarios left to be created. And then it comes down to when can we launch the next season to start? How do you prepare for that? But a lot of sporting clubs right now, if we're talking about sport, they can't shut this season off and start a new one until this one's finished. So until it's closed, everyone's in limbo, which is
feels like it's a bit of a lag period. Yeah, you took the word limbo. It feels like a massive lag period right now. A few of us are all sort of waiting, seeing what's happening with, I guess, finishing up this current season, whatever that looks like, and when that actually happens. So, I guess, it just feels like we're all just sitting and waiting. And I can imagine for a lot of people, and probably even myself included, it's become a bit frustrating, to be honest.
Look, and look, I'm trying to hold calm on this one. I try and do a bit of a, cheer up posts and on Facebook, but deep down, I'm hurting, I'm frustrated, I can be angry. I don't say what I'm angry about. I don't say what my view is on why I feel the way I feel, or I'm doing my due diligence on what I want to research into and what I want to agree to and what I want to see.
Yep.
I'll tell you what's annoying me the most as it is how we're starting to really divide amongst ourselves in a really bad way. Like,
What makes you say that?
When you see, because with us, we see a lot of social media stuff. Everyone is just wanting to attack. You have a view, someone else wants to shut that down, someone wants to prove a point, someone say that's more overriding than that, and this person doesn't know what they're doing. And if I was a young generation wanting to face the world that's coming, this can't be the future because it's creating so much doubt. And like, I can't say too much, but the people I've helped support in the last couple of weeks, the depth of despair, not just from the COVID state, but also some personal things have happened, or tragically, or they've lost something for whatever reason. There's some sad things that are happening right now that we are in close with, and it's sad and shattering. And you deal with all that, and you get so many people are so angry and hatred towards each other with views and opinions that I think maybe we're accelerating the mental health ourselves. That's high because of what's going on.
Yeah.
But we're also contributing the amplification of that, is what I feel, because of the anger, the negativity, the I don't know.
There's a large deal of sensitivity around everything at the moment. It feels, and I don't want to downplay people's situations. There's some people absolutely going through some hardships at the moment, but it just feels like those that aren't going through a genuine hardship, there's a I want to be careful how I say that, but this is my view. There's a lot of hypersensitivity right now, and people taking a lot of things out of context.
Yeah, but boredom does that too. You got nothing else to do, so let's try and I get people on the view, but I just think it's just getting lost in translation, mate. Like I don't know, I'm so glad this role I've got with Broadmeadows. It's going to give me a chance to put my head down, because I can't worry about TS much at the moment. I mean, I can't do much more for the members because they're all struggling, hurting, and we're there for them. But everyone's doing Zooms, clubs, teams. It's all generic free, and you think, well, what do I do? So this is going to give me a chance to, I'm just going to now do some focus for the next week or two, and it's going to give me a chance to pause everything's going on around me, even TS, the hemorrhaging, the pain, the suffering. I'm excited about this because it gives me a project. And my message to all the people, it's a job, but it's going to be paid in the end. But I'm prepared to put more into it as a project, as something to do and engage in. I'm going to do that now for the next couple of weeks, which will keep me occupied and mentally stimulated.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems like a good way to go about it. I guess, the point I'm probably trying to make is, I think people have gotten to the point where this, like you said, they've been sitting around waiting, and I think trying to make issues bigger than they are because they're bored, like you said. And I think as frustrating as it is, and I'm probably one of those people at the moment that's probably getting frustrated because I'm trying to figure out what's next for me as well. But what do you think are some of the ways people could probably try and stay grounded, in a sense? Does that make sense? Trying to stay grounded and I guess real with what the current situation is, and not over amplify things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, again, we're not experts. We're just having a conversation.
No, we're just having a conversation. But I hope people can take something away from it, because we try and we consider ourselves generally pretty level-headed, don't we, mate?
Well, sometimes. Well, ask my wife. She thinks differently, mate. She thinks I'm out there, but anyway.
Yeah, I get you.
Again, I'm not trying to be cryptic. I've had these discussions with people in need. Okay,
of all different ages too. You might want to say.
Whether it be COVID-19 alone, whether it be a pre-thing that's now been amplified by COVID-19, whether it be something's happened tragically, there's been a loss.
Yeah.
There's something happening. There's been a massive change in their life, financial as well. I don't have the answers for them, but what I can do is try and get them to preoccupy their thoughts. Because by the time they get to a mental health and go through the process of your health plan and get a booking, there's a backlog. So what we've got to try and do for us, we're going to try and engage them until that time comes.
Yeah.
So my theory is create a habit. We have outside. We are allowed outside, which I think people are making the most of that to kids, and get outside and focus. I think less time on social media. If you want to get on social media, spend X amount of time.
Don't spend over amounts of time on there, because again, I think it goes back to something we spoke about a while ago. A lot of things on there can tend not to be very real at all.
Yeah, but it feels real because that's as close to the real we can get.
Mm.
So that's the problem. We're creating that we feel it's real, and we're being surrounded by it.
Yeah.
So we just need to change the environment. So if we're stuck in the house all day, we need to change that view. Okay, go for your walk.
Yeah.
Go kick a footy, shoot a basket, or we'll talk about sports or even adults. Easier said than done. Is you've got to create some sort of habit, or while you've got time, which we have a lot of, reflect, project. Now, project can be physical, project can be mental, it can be, indulge yourself in something. So for me, what I do is when I get home, I'm really enjoying cooking. Now, I'm not a cook, but what I might do is I might start preparing at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I like to cut the onions, and sometimes I might even have a glass of red just to feel them. And then by the time I put everything away, I've cleaned up. Then I serve the dinner. I don't do that all the time. But when I do that, I'm trying to keep myself busy. If I do a slow cooker, I'm up early, get the slow cooker going. A bit later on, we do the preparation for the other stuff. Then I serve. Might have a couple, or I might do something else.
Yeah.
I
might have to get Kaz on here to critique your cooking, mate, by the way. I might have to ask Kaz how you actually do go in the kitchen.
I go all right. Don't you worry. I'm just trying to say, we've got a lot of things we can do that we've never been able to do before, that we can try and test and really see what we're about. Because imagine when we all retire. This is an example.
This is a bit of a preview into that, isn't it? Really, just the less stimulation in your life, but hopefully there'll be a little bit better freedoms by then. But yeah, you're right, 100%.
But on the flip side, I'm not supporting the rules and regulations. I'm just saying that, okay, well, we are in a situation I don't fully support. I'm not really agreeing with, but that's not what this discussion's about. It's about, okay, well, I can use my time wisely in other ways. Yes, I'm struggling at times. Yes, I'm sitting there going, I'm frustrated. I get all that. But I don't do it 24/7. What I'm trying to do is find hours that make that less of those thoughts is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I agree. Just little things that you can probably just tick away at. I think that's the thing right now. I keep saying it's funny. I got a 9-year-old son, but we keep talking about patience and resilience a little bit. And as much as this has had a hugely negative effect on particularly the young kids coming up, and they're developing their social abilities and whatnot. Probably one thing that they're going to get out of it is the resilience where they can, and the patience. In a world which has been sped up, we're able to get anything we want at any time, basically. So at the moment, it's something that is a trend in the opposite direction. It's probably, if we could keep it simple, some good life skills to take with us through whatever comes up next.
Quite another word too.
Maybe that's a glass half full way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree, but it's also another word, appreciation. Like,
for what you've got.
I can't. Again, I'm trying to keep what I say because, we could have, should have, and didn't. If I could have, but I did when I was doing it. But now I didn't do it. I should have done it, and I could be in a different position. Okay, well, now we can reflect, and when we do come out of it, we all say, "Oh, now I'm going to ensure I'm going to bring quality time back to my." So when we do get out and about, I am going to maintain my gatherings and dinners and go out and make sure that I have maybe it's a date night, maybe it's a family night. But one thing we do wrong, majority, is we'll get back to the rat race and go from 0 to 100. High five in, high five out. Before you know it, 4 weeks gone by, and we've gone back to the old ways.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. If you're really going to really appreciate the people around you, are we going to ensure to have those calm, relaxing dinners? Are we going to have those gatherings that we said we would do? And hey, Az, I'm going to ring you next week, but I don't ring you for 4 weeks. Oh, I'll ring you next week. I'll start gym Monday, but Monday never comes.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out is appreciation is something we can really look back on, reflect on. So when we do come out of this crazy, emotional, heart-wrenching, mental anguish time, I'm going to appreciate a lot more things and balance better than trying to run 100 mile an hour on empty and just use fumes in my fuel tank just to survive.
Yeah, exactly right. Different way of living, I think. I think a different way of living is something that we have to take out of this.
Which is not a bad thing to change the way we live, because we do rely so much on so much. Like social media we rely on now, but when we come out of this, I would like to think less of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You get because we're sick of it. And if
Yeah,
I'm going to have a
sick.
conversation with someone, you know what?
Mm.
I don't want to ring you, Aaron. I want to come and see you.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I'm not going to write you an email and then you write me one back. I'm going to go and see you and have that conversation that we lost all these years ago.
Yeah.
The personal interaction of, hey, you know, I can go on a date via a text. I can dump someone via a text. I can have a dinner date via a Zoom now. Like, how crazy are we living in? And it's like social media. Last week, as it, you know, it's freezing. You and me come and talk because it keeps freezing. That's technology.
Mm.
You know, we rely so much on all this. Let's go back to the five senses: touch, feel, all the things I love. The five senses. Be present.
And just being present in each other's company. You took the word out of my mouth, mate. Absolutely, because we tend to do all these things, but we're not actually present in anything that we're doing because we're thinking on to the next. So, yeah, I absolutely agree, mate. That's something I'm taking away from all this. That's for sure.
Well, I crossed paths with someone the other day. And they said, "Geez, Dad, you look really great. You look like you've got, you know." And like, I'm still hurting. Like, I've been still struggling with some of my pain issues, but not to the same degree I had. But the last week I've had a turnaround. I've had an emotional roller coaster, but something's changed. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm still tired, a little bit down, but I feel like I'm seeing things differently. And now I'm seeing things differently. I'm less engaged in all the posts that are on Facebook. I'm looking more for the positive posts, not the bullshit word ones. I'm not talking about the inspirational word, just the ones that actually are meaningful and true.
Yeah.
Not just an upload of something's got meaning.
Mm.
And the ones I'm flicking through that are negative, I'm laughing now. I'm thinking it's actually entertainment for me.
It's entertainment.
I'm looking at it as purely entertainment. I'm not looking at it as I'm involved. I'm an outside. I'm not involved. I'm not getting caught up in it. It's entertainment for me now. If I don't want to read past the next part, I don't read it. Just go on. It's funny.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's funny. I've also found I've had a few more chuckles at what's tending to be put out there by some people.
So you're actually reading it differently, correct?
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, it's not so much, throwing the pity parties or whatever it might be. You know, it's sort of you actually sort of start to see where people are probably really at.
I'm like to think that I'm going to come out. I've still got a long way to go. There's still, when I say battles with everything going on around me, but I honestly think I'm going to come out better for it, which is crazy because 2 weeks ago I would have said this is just madness. It is madness.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It is. Yeah,
I'll highlight all those things again. I'm not trying to, but I'm going to come out better for it. The way I balance things, manage things, do things, and my vision of the end game, where we all say, "Oh, let's build for retirement." Man, I'm building for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, who was I talking to the other day? We were talking about, you know, we're all worried about the future. Actually, someone lost someone.
Yeah.
Very close to them. So I was just chatting to him, and we're talking about, you know, we look so much for the long term. I just want to live today and tomorrow and the next day while still trying to plan the future.
Yeah.
But I still want to live for today. But we forget about today, we forget about tomorrow because we're so worried about the later. And what if later doesn't come?
That's it. That's
what scares me, the later. So I'm going to enjoy now.
100%.
And do what I can while I'm present.
Yep. That's it. That's all we can do. It's been probably the biggest lesson of all out of this, hasn't it? Biggest lesson.
You know, do you want to be the entrepreneur and say, I want to be a big, have all these nest egg of asset rich, cash poor? Well, that's one that's proven. All the people that own property in the city are no longer asset rich, and they're going to be very cash poor because they can't sell it, they can't access it. They're in trouble. So you need to start thinking, well, how am I going to do this now? Am I going to change the way I think, the way I do things, the way I invest, the way I spend, the way I appreciate the dollar?
Absolutely.
So,
money and time, mate. It's probably the biggest things that make the world go round. But time is something you're never going to get back, is it?
So time is, I know it's dead and tiring and now, but if we make the most of this time, what we can do, what we wouldn't do normally, when we come out of this, we might see the whole world, whole new landscape, whole new world.
100%, mate. I do agree with you.
So, how are you going? We haven't really asked how you're going, mate, because I think I bypassed that.
Oh, mate, it's not all about me.
I mean, look, we go back to the old situation. You'll meet two opposite ends of the scale, but we probably feel the same about everything that's going on. So this is the point I'm going to try and make.
All
I
right.
have a business, hemorrhaging as hell. Not guaranteed a job for tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. You're working. So the things like that for you are as per normal per se, but life's not the same. So you're still feeling all the angers and angst. How does it feel knowing that you're working and it feels like you don't feel guilty, that you feel like, do you ever feel that? Do you feel, not that I'm trying to make you feel guilty either.
You're trying to make you
I'll explain.
Nah, mate.
I'll remind you about something about that word guilt later. That I'm not trying to make someone feel that way. I'm just trying to highlight that you're allowed to feel the way you feel just because you're in different situations. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, mate. Look, at times I honestly do. I don't carry it around every single day, but it's just when I hear and see of people's different stories and situations, I definitely do sort of feel really bad. But at the same point, for me, it's probably to look more inwardly about it, and not trying to be too selfish here. But for me, I've been able to set up. Sorry, let me word this a bit better. I feel proud that I've been able to set up a life for myself and my family, which has generally been sustainable. If that makes sense.
Sure.
With some of the decisions I've made along the way. Does that make sense? I'm not saying like, obviously our situations are very different, but the decisions I've gone about making with always have tended to be with one eye on the future here, there. A lot of that's come to fruition. So in terms of my own personal life and my family's life, we've been generally pretty good and fortunate. Definitely fortunate, but it's not. I don't want to say it's a lot to do with luck. A lot of the decisions that we've made or I've made along the way have been hugely based on considering things from a whole range of different angles, trying to prepare for the future, prepare for some what ifs along the way as well, if things do tend to go wrong. So that's generally been something which I look back and go, you know what, I've actually done some really good things there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, core values you stood by. That's who you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty heavily principle based, mate, and sometimes to a detriment in seeing things a little too black and white and not embracing grey. But yeah, that's probably about where I'm at, mate, in terms of looking at things in a positive manner that way.
Yeah, I got worry about people like you guys and others, but just because you've got things as pretty much normal when it comes to going to work, coming home, all that stuff. Well, not necessarily going because you're working from home.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact similar to what everyone else is having, because it doesn't have to be a financial strain. It can be.
Yeah.
I want people to realise that it's okay that you're struggling, no matter what situation you're in. So if you're in a better situation than someone else, it's okay not to feel well, not to feel good about things. That's okay.
Yeah, that's right. And look, so in terms of separating roles, the working role, the dad role, the teacher role, working from home, schooling from home, and different things, it's probably been really important just to, in each of those roles, try and be as present as you can, but also just try and seek times where you can separate it, if that makes sense, so it doesn't feel all overwhelming. And at times it has. There's no doubt about that. We're not perfect, so it's been a learning thing along the way. But I feel like, where are we now? Basically September. I've had gotten a pretty good sort of reasonable rhythm and balance with things. So I think that's something that I've been able to learn and refine along the way, and I'm hoping some others have too. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah, definitely learnings in there. So that's reasonably good. But I guess the part I'm frustrated with at the moment is because I still want to continue coaching. I don't hide that fact at all. It's just a matter of trying to sort out what's next for me on that front, to be honest. And whether that's a year off and, seeing what happens in terms of the sporting and basketball coaching landscape for a year, things shift and change. And like I said before, this current season's still going on, really. We just don't know what the sort of end game is with that. So I'm still trying to ensure that I'm pretty present with my role as a current coach with the group that I've got. And I feel incredibly sorry for them as well. As with any group, we've technically played 9 games out of what is meant to be 18 or something like that, something around that range in finals. And it hasn't even quite panned out that way for a lot of the young guys. So it's such a shame to see them miss out, because it's a huge miss out 2 years in a row, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I know we've discussed this a few times, and
Yeah.
I'll say it again, is
Mm.
the only positive I can find is if we change the age group and we don't lose 2 years, we lose one. If we went to odd numbers, it makes sense. We don't lose a year, we save a year. It's not 2 years out. I know mentally it's not because we still missed 2 years because we haven't played, blah, blah, blah. But some kids are aging out. Some kids are going to have to move on, and if you're in the juniors or youth league, you're 23, you don't get to play that last year of youth league. You don't get to play that last year as a junior.
Yeah.
It's like schools, not doing your formals. It can just go on and on.
Yeah.
The
things you're missing out on. Exactly.
So if you can try and get some of that back by making one decision, I think they should look at that. I'm not for or against, but for example, in the basketball circumstance, if they went to the odd numbers, at least it saves 1 year of those people going through that process of missing out.
Correct.
Year 12, unfortunately, you can't miss that formal. It's come and gone. It's unfortunate. And other examples. But if you make one decision that helps alleviate those problems, I think in any industry, any sport should look at it.
Absolutely, mate. 100% agree. And there's always going to be arguments or different views for and against it. And I'm not saying that either way is right or wrong, but I always come back to the same probably question of it all is we've had a disruption now for the best part of 18 months, 2 years. And I think as time continues to go on a little bit, I feel that it's unreasonable to expect that we're just going to go back to a norm of what it was before. I think we've got to adapt a little bit. We've got to change something a little bit. It doesn't have to be wholesale. It can be tweaked. But surely this has taught us that we can actually make a change.
And off the top of my head now, like basketball's an all year round thing. Grading phase 1, grading phase 2, season. Maybe it doesn't need to be so long. Maybe we can ensure that we can get a season out. So if these things do happen, we can have time to extend and adapt it around. And like football and cricket, they got it hard because they share facilities.
The opposite, yeah.
So football's got to be off.
They're opposite season, though, aren't they? They're the opposite.
Yeah. So
season.
If you extend too long, football can't come to cricket time, and cricket can't. I get that.
Yeah.
But when you're an indoor sport, which we're lucky to do,
it
gives you a little bit more leeway to maneuver and change and adapt. But when you rely on a whole year to finish this, like a whole year to finish the season, or 9 months or 10 months of the year, it makes it hard. And maybe it could be something that they're thinking about. Who knows? That maybe the longer, if it's a little bit shorter, the more chance that we can adapt. Does that make sense? Maybe.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I think we could again back to what I was saying before. We could do things a little bit differently and actually get more value out of it. It's not so much. I think we've been a little bit lazy in the fact that we know we've got the best part of 11 months for when you work through your tryout process, have your season, your two grading phase processes and things like that. So in a sense, you've got all of this time, but do we actually teach things well enough? So if we condense it and actually place value on what we're teaching,
you can develop better.
Are we actually going to be better for it?
Yeah, more chance to develop, not rushing to get started, get a team on court, get them in uniform, get them on court, get them to play the season, qualify, play the season, finish it out. We can now develop. We can,
differently.
Yeah, navigate and spend more quality time in key points, in key areas that we need working on, not skim it because we've got to get through this and because of that and we haven't got time and we're too busy. And that goes back to what I said earlier. We live that life. Not just we live that way. We're all, we say we're going to balance better. We commit to something else. We don't know how to say it yet. We'll do that. Yep, we'll do it. We'll fit that in. Yep, let's squeeze that in. Let's just like your basketball. You're domestic. You got to train twice. If you do that once a week, play domestic, train rep twice, play game twice, all year round. What sport does that?
Not many that I know of, mate. It's pretty involved and it does demand a lot of time. So I just question. So what's the value in some of it or all of it? Having all of it still. Why can't we just shift that a little bit? I don't know. It's just a bit of a question. Or how about this? If you were to keep your VJBL sort of structure in those even groups, 12, 14, 16s, 18s, why don't they shift the domestics to 11s, 13s, 15s, 17s? I don't know, just a thought. Maybe just that might help with development, a different sort of at a lower level. Curious to see what people think about that. That's just my
I
way
love
of
being in a
skin
room.
cat.
I love being in a room where all the head honchos, like just sitting there. I'd love to see.
I'd love to see what the actual conversation sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean that with intrigue, not
Yep.
with judgment. I'm
No,
really intrigued
yeah.
because it's like businesses. The die-hand business, a big business who have to, get together and say we've got to keep changing and first we got to change the brand, adapt the brand and maintain it still, in demand by the customer. But then if COVID comes in, we've got to change the way we do things just for the customer.
Yeah.
I'd love to see when people go into a think tank scenarios.
Yeah.
To an outcome. I love that stuff. I love it.
Yeah. It would be a very interesting conversation. I think I'd just love to hear different points of view around the reasoning around why we're going to do this or why we're not going to do that. I mean, I consider myself pretty well balanced, but I'd love to understand what some of the other different points of views are around why we can and can't do certain things.
And I love being in a room when they have a light bulb moment where they're all going to the difficult, complex concept of trying to create something from nothing when someone just goes, hang on, I have a simple solution. Just by this.
Yeah. And everyone goes, oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Because
wow, the light bulb moment.
This is what I'm going to hopefully implement with coaches as well. We think complicated first. Why don't we think simple first? The simple way, the easy way, hang on, it might not look so in depth and we've had to, it's not that it didn't take us all week to decide. It's okay, we decide in 1 minute, a very good outcome. I think some people think they've got to earn their hours, earn their time and try and form this big, massive presentation and all the bells and whistles when in fact it probably doesn't need all that. It could just be a simple decision. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's a fair point, mate. I like the sound
Simplicity.
of that.
Let's go to a simple life, not the complex life.
Well, hopefully, if any of this has taught us anything, hopefully it does take us back to living a more simple existence.
All right. So now COVID's coming on end. You get the chance to live the lifestyle that you want to live after what you've experienced and what you've gone through and where you're at and all the dreams and what you wanted and what would your ideal life be right now if you could do it right now?
If I could do it right now, maybe living.
What's your ideal way of living? Where'd you live? What sort of style of life?
But living on a beach somewhere with crystal clear water, mate, and just living a very chilled existence. That's for sure.
Chilled, calm, relaxed concept by the water.
Yeah. No sort of watch time. No sort of time just to look at. You look at the sun and try and work out what time of day it is, mate. That sounds like the life for me. I don't know about you.
Mine's a little 10-acre hobby farm, mate. Tasmania, because apparently COVID's free from there. No, it doesn't go there.
Don't get COVID in Tassie, yeah.
And I'll be the only farmer who has to still go and buy his meat from the butcher because I will not be able to kill my cow. So I'll live off the other stuff, but I just can't kill my cow. I have to name the cow and name Daisy the cow. Daisy's the cow. But the reason I said that is I wonder, change of topic, a lot of people are going to change how they live and what they ideal living was. So you might find, which I think a lot of people already talk, I want to live in the country now. I want to get away from metro. I want to get away from the condensed population. I can actually see metro becoming country becoming metro.
Country becoming metro.
And metro
becoming country.
Metro. It's going to be like, this is great. There's no
one around.
I'm in the country.
Less hustle and bustle. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
There's going to be some shift and changes in the real estate game of the demographic where people are going to want to live, how they live. Is it up north by the beach? Is it on the farm? Is it stay in condensed metro and live in that tight and condensed space? And it's going to be interesting to see how that changes when we come out of this. I think that's going to be a whole game changer.
Yeah, it'll force some sea change for people, that's for sure, mate. I do absolutely agree with that, because people are just going to have a chance to obviously probably sit back and reflect and think about what they really do value. So definitely there'll be some sea changes on the horizon for people. I probably did my sea change a few years ago from moving from the outer suburbs into the city, and that suited my lifestyle and our family's lifestyle really perfectly. So, but yeah, definitely, mate. Now's as good a time to change as any, huh?
Well, I've never
If
thought
we
about it.
can.
You know, you have a conversation and you start to look at, why things are happening more in certain areas.
Yep.
Sydney and Melbourne have both got the biggest international airports. Then you got the other states a little bit smaller. Tasmania is just an island. You can see why certain states are in certain situations. So people are going to start saying, I might go live in that state because of that. And they're going to start to look at not just city and country, what state is the best to live in with everything that's going on right now. Yeah. I'm going to be intrigued and watch everyone just move. It's like the Australian draft of people. I'm just swap and change and move.
Yeah, see what people want to do, see how they change their lives. It's going to be very interesting. I think people will love writing books about all this sort of stuff around what they've learned out of it, what they've observed in just general people and human nature after this. Is going to be quite fascinating, I'd say.
So do you think maybe you and me should invest in a bookshop because they may reopen in the future?
Yeah. Do you reckon we'll get back to the old-fashioned bookshops? I don't know.
I'd love to. I'd love to see the day that someone says, I've got an idea. I'm going to create a cafe bookshop, and people are going to say, what's that? Yeah. The fact that you actually feel it, you turn the pages, you feel like you're in chat, but when you're on this computer screen, you can't get engaged. I know some people do.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that day when someone has this bright idea and says, I'm going to open up a bookshop.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to say, what's that? What's that?
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, mate. That's funny.
Well, let's sign this one off.
Yeah, sign this one off.
Well, I think next time we chat, there'll be hopefully more changes with some decisions on what's going on, and I think we'll have an idea next podcast what's going on in sport, because the window is now narrow. It's no longer an opportunity of all these different scenarios.
Yeah,
it's not much left. So
yeah,
I think next podcast there'll be some answers.
Yeah, definitely the point where I think it's decision time, mate, for a lot of things. And I think we're probably, without there being any decisions made, the narrative started to come out really around what the sort of next little time period looks like. And not to get political in terms of what you're going to actually be entitled to or have access to based on your vaccination histories and different things like that. So, yeah, interesting times ahead, mate. We're going to know more over the next week or two, I think that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I'll have lots to talk about, mate, to be fair.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, as always, everyone,
Thanks,
we know it's not easy. So that's out there. We can always say the same thing: stay well, stay strong. Easy said than done. We get that.
Yeah.
But our highlight our main thing we'll always say to you is, if you're struggling, you feel down now, call someone. Someone will take that call. Absolutely. And you can't do this alone. That's fact. You can't fight these fights and these battles and these demons for whatever reason. You're feeling what you're feeling. It can't be done alone. So reach out.
Absolutely, mate. Please, yes. Anyone out there, please reach out.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll give you some sort of entertainment and some thoughts and some ways to see things a little bit differently or the same or whatever.
Who knows?
And guys, look, day by day, focus on what you can do, engage in something that's mentally stimulating, and hopefully it just gives you some time to ride this out. Which we don't like. It sucks. I get that. But yeah, we just need to stimulate into something. So hope you find something and get to enjoy something.
Yeah, absolutely. See you guys. See you next time.
Take care. All the best. We're out.
Bye.